space in my heart where I find the truth. I find me in you, a truth beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, we bring more good about. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Eyes, allow and unfold, embrace and let go, trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are stronger than we could ever be apart. No matter who or what you call yourself or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love. Welcome to peace. Welcome to our community. Be who you are. Let your light shine. We're so much more when we around you, all that you feel, all that you know, let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. So much more when we unite, yeah, when we unite, oh, we unite, yeah, yeah, when we unite, yeah, yeah, yeah. You are welcome. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
You are welcome here. And when I heard that song, I said, this is unity. For we embrace I embrace you right where you are, whoever you are. Everyone is welcome here, no matter what your spiritual path is, no matter who you love, no matter anything. We are one and you are welcome here. And I want that to become our theme song, kind of know that this is our community, that love is here and peace is here. And so welcome everybody. It's good to see some of your faces that I haven't seen in a while. And always welcome those that are always so faithful that are here with us. Welcome back, John. It's good to see you back. Yes, you've been gone a long time. And Chris and Claire and oh my goodness, I could go on and on and on. Thank you for joining us today. And say hello to your neighbor, greet your neighbor, and then we'll greet the people outside. Hi, neighbor. Bless you. Bless you. And then if you would turn around and greet our Facebook and YouTube family. Good morning, Facebook and YouTube family. We are so grateful for your faithfulness, for joining us every Sunday. And I love that we are creating a loving, accepting, and healing community. That is our mission here. That's what we do. Create a loving, accepting, and healing community that transforms lives through prayer and education and just sacred service with one another. So I'm always excited about being here with you, always. But I am particularly excited to see some of you that I haven't seen in a while, and also those of you that are always here. So let's set the intention for the service. Let's begin right away, get right into that space where we take a deep breath and release that. And acknowledge this sacred moment, because every moment of our lives is sacred. We acknowledge the presence of love here, the presence of peace, the infinite presence, our source, that permeates all things. So we know that where we are, God is, and therefore where we stand is sacred, holy ground. And everything is sacred. So in the spirit of unity, the spirit of oneness, we set the intention to be really mindful of being present in the here and the now. For it is only in that moment where all the power is. In the here and the now, we see with the eyes of the heart. So we set that intention. We let go, we truly let go of whatever thoughts that are not of the now. We just let them go and begin to make the journey right into our sacred heart. And allow that heart to experience the gratitude of being here, of having this place that we call our spiritual home, of having each other that support and love each other. We have this space of gratitude for everyone who has worked in the background to create the service. We're so grateful for every team, every person that has prayed and brought us here today so that we can experience the oneness and know that we're not here by accident. There is a divine appointment why we came here today. And so we're willing and open and receptive minds and heart. We're ready to hear what that is, so that when we leave, we'll be renewed and we will be transformed. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Thank you. And so it is. Amen. Would you say the affirmation of oneness with me? There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. Namaste.
before the craziness begins. I breathe deep and go within. Here I am, an empty cup. I pray, God, please fill me up. Help me see your grand design. Lead me to a quiet mind. One more time, I breathe you in before the craziness begins. So breathe freely, breathe often. Make your life beautiful with every breath you take.
Beautiful song. Let's continue in that wonderful feeling we just got. Welcome to Unity of Citrus County. It is that time in our service when we take a moment to meditate. Give yourself this moment to have the relaxation you deserve, sitting in a way where you can relax. Let your eyes gently close if that feels comfortable to you. As you take in a slow and long, deep breath. And when you exhale, know that everything you've done today was perfect, and everything you have to do in the future doesn't matter right now. Let's enjoy the present moment, becoming grateful now for your body and mind. Feel appreciation for your good health, knowing that you are doing your very best in life. When you relax and focus your mind, the possibilities are endless. Begin to visualize your mind exactly how you want your life to be. Life is a beautiful gift, and your life matters. See yourself accomplishing great things. Feeling secure in who you are. Knowing that you are powerful and capable of anything. Clearly see yourself living the life of your dreams. Give yourself permission to make useful contributions to the world around you. See yourself honoring your values and making good choices in every decision that you make. You are worthy of love. See yourself loving deeply and being loved by those you care about. If you can imagine it and visualize it, you can create it as your reality. You are a unique and beautiful soul. Feel yourself becoming open and ready to be positive in all situations. Feel how you are in control of your feelings. You have a deep inner knowing, and no matter how hard it is, you can do it. Obstacles only help you grow and learn. You make good choices on a daily basis, and it's okay if you make mistakes. Now become grateful for everything you have. Allow the feeling of gratitude to grow and expand. And use this feeling as a force for good. You may open your eyes and return to these surroundings now. Namaste. I invite you to say with me the Lord's Prayer. It's up on the screen. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you, Z, for that beautiful meditation. Yeah, I sort of love just speaking the Lord's Prayer. No fanfare, no nothing, just allowing us to just take those words in. Someday we'll do some metaphysical interpretation of that prayer. So, a universe of stories. Boy, do we have lots of stories, don't we? We're going to talk a little bit about that today because we're going to continue with our series on You Can't Sleep Through in Your Awakening, based on the book by James Simmons of that title. And in her book, she always, she's wonderful. She gives us all these, she calls them red pill practices to help us stay in the present moment. And she got that idea from the movie The Matrix. I kind of shared that with you a little bit earlier. For those of you that weren't here, you know, the main character gets offered 2 pills, a red pill and a blue pill. And the blue pill will allow him to stay living life just as he was, on autopilot, unconscious, you know, never realizing that underneath all this appearance, there is a deeper reality. Or he could take the red pill and wake up. So that's where she got that from. And, you know, that pill experience that she talks about is offered to us every day. We can choose, you know, whether we want to continue to live every moment in our blue pill experience or in our red pill experience, you know. And so, yes, it's a choice that we have to make every day. And so our practices help us to remain awake, to continue to practice what we know is a truth to keep us in the present moment. Because it's only in the present moment where all the power is. There is no tomorrow, tomorrow past. And yes, tomorrow is not yet here. I got myself confused here. Tomorrow has not yet arrived, and the past is done, is a closed chapter in our lives. You know, sometimes, you know, we just got to visit a little bit, and we'll talk about that. But where the real power is now. Now is where we need to be. And so when we're in the now, we are able then to be able to see from the portal of our heart. We get more clarity. They have these moments of insight and clarity and understanding and knowing the truth that we know becomes real in that present moment. So if you could see with the eyes of the heart, then you really are seeing. There's a story in the book of Mark where Jesus hears his disciples talking, and they're kind of saying, man, we don't have any bread. Meanwhile, they had just witnessed Jesus feeding the multitude with bread, feeding them with all that, for just the loaves of bread and fish that he had. And yet here they are still talking, you know, we have no bread. Jesus hears them and he says to them, he says, why are you talking about having no bread? Do you still not see or understand? They couldn't see. They were not in the present moment. They're worrying about the future and they're going to eat their bread, I guess, you know. But they weren't really seeing. He says to them, are your hearts hardened? Because we have to be able to see from the portal of our heart. He says, do you have eyes but fail to see, and ears but you fail to hear? And don't you remember? We forget. You know, we forget in the experiences of our lives that there is something much more powerful going on. That God is our source, our unfailing, unlimited storehouse of good that we can tap into and that we can manifest in our lives. Those things that we need, we forget that in the moment. It happens to all of us. We forget that we cannot possibly ever lack, ever, ever. So, you know, and we forget that right where we are is the power of the universe. And so we forget, we fall asleep to those things. And red pill practices ask us to stay awake so you can see beyond the realm of appearances and know that there is something so fabulous going on right before ourselves, but we cannot see it because we're only seeing with our carnal eyes. And so one of the practices that she offered us was be present in the moment. Practice bringing yourself back to the moment whenever you become aware. Maybe remember that in that present moment, oh my goodness, is the fullness of life. The fullness of life is in that moment. There's an aliveness and a sacredness to everything. Like Daniel Nahmod spoke about, and he sings about, everything is holy now. Everything becomes sacred and magnificent. And you've had those experiences, haven't you? Those awakened experiences where all of a sudden you realize, wow, a butterfly is no longer just a butterfly. And a tree is no longer just a tree. There's a sacredness about it, and you are one with it. So that was one of the practices she said. And then she spoke about having gratitude. She said, stay in the present moment and allow your heart to be filled with gratitude. Because when we do that, when our hearts are filled with gratitude, then we know that every moment has the capacity to bring us a gift. Every moment. Every single moment. And the more you appreciate, the more you'll get to appreciate it. It just draws it out to you. Almost like you open up the window and let the good come on in. And gratitude, if you could get yourself in an attitude of gratitude, then you also allow joy to come into your life. It's not for you to get joy so that you could be grateful for the joy. It's the other way around. Be grateful so that joy can come in. So she gives us some wonderful practices, and she says to us, some of the things that will help us more into knowing that we can practice being more awake is knowing what these practices are. And she says you can easily remember them if you remember the word face. She says that these are the practices: forgiveness and appreciation, and compassion and embodiment. And we're going to talk about every single one of them. Last week when we spoke about appreciation was the one that we focus on. And I found this wonderful saying from Charles Fillmore. He says, if you start right now with the idea of universal and eternal goodness uppermost in your mind, talk only about the good. And see with the mind's eye everything and everyone as good, then you will soon be demonstrating all kinds of good in your lives. So it's a practice. Charles Fillmore knew it. Jesus knew it. That's why he said, in all things, give thanks. It turns whatever we have into more than enough. It really does. It turns our denials into acceptance and chaos into order. We see it. The confusion becomes a little bit, we get clarity. It turns a simple meal into a feast when you're grateful, when you practice gratitude. And it turns your house into a home. You're grateful for it. I heard in the radio a little girl, because our children mimic what we say, and a little girl was telling her classmates, my house is small, but we are grateful. And where did she get that from? She was a preschooler, 4 years old. She was learning to cultivate an attitude of gratitude for whatever we have, everything. And gratitude makes sense of our past and brings peace into today and creates the vision for tomorrow. So she was honing in on that, and that's what we did last week. So we've talked about being present. We've talked about the practice of having appreciation. Now we're going to talk about compassion. And compassion today is more going to be about self-compassion. We're so good about being able to give compassion to other people. We have that sometimes, really down-packed. What we don't have is we don't offer that to ourselves. We don't. And so specifically what I'm going to talk about to you today is the practice of self-inquiry. And that practice is going to help us heal. Because that's what we want to do. We want to be able to be the best expression of the Christ that we can be, but sometimes we just have to deal with the wounds of our lives that have been buried. So compassion inquiry is going to help us to do that. It's going to help us to examine the unconscious programming that is running our lives. We don't even know that is there. And in a gentle and most loving way, in a most compassionate way, be able to see it and maybe be able to heal the wound. Because those beliefs that we hold on to, a lot of them we created, really. We got them from early childhood. That's where we got them, a lot of them. And so they're so ingrained that it becomes our story. Becomes our story of life. We go around saying things like, I am not really smart. I'm not smart. And so, of course, when you're tackling something challenging, what's going to happen? You're going to go back and revert to that because that's a story that you've told yourself. I'm not pretty. And so you're always going back to that same old story. You don't realize that that is the program that is running your life. We all have these belief systems in our lives. And we believe things about ourselves, and we believe things about other people, and we believe things about the world. And these are really created because when we come here, when we're babies, there are two real basic needs that we have. And those basic needs is that we want to be loved. And the second one is that we want to be protected. Because we're little. Yeah, we need to be protected. And so, according to how well those needs are met, we create the belief. So most of us, we know we were loved, or most of us were really kind of loved, but we also experienced in our lives all kinds of moments of feeling unwanted and unloved and afraid, and we didn't even feel like we mattered. And so our behavior, and even our behavior was corrected. When I was growing up, my sisters are here so they can attest to this is really true. We were told that when we're in the company of grown-ups, you don't talk. Children do not talk. Okay, you're invisible. Talk about not feeling wanted, right? Talk about not feeling kind of safe. We were not allowed to do, and we weren't allowed to, if we visited someone, never ask for something, ever. It was considered the social culture that we were growing up with. You don't do that. It was considered bad ethics. And so back then, we already created in our minds an idea of what the world was like, and how we were supposed to be. And whenever we would break those rules, we were reprimanded, weren't we? We didn't do it. So we started to feel, we were bad. We're doing something bad. And so we didn't want to see ourselves as bad. We were creating all these things to try to cope with what was happening in our lives, but they were not acceptable. It was not safe to do certain things. And we began to think about ourselves like there's something wrong with me. Something's wrong with me. I cannot be trusted. I always kind of fail. I don't know how to follow the rules, and on and on and on, the stories we tell ourselves. And these thoughts created these kind of feelings inside of us, All of a sudden I started to feel sad. I couldn't ask for what I wanted, Can I go to the bathroom? No, couldn't ask that. So you start to feel, sad. You have no voice. And sometimes you will feel angry, because you felt you had something to contribute, and you felt envy and greed and all those emotions that we've labeled them as negative emotions. But I tell you the truth, the emotions are not negative or positive. They're an energy in you that are moving through you. But we call them negative because we're so reprimanded. They were the bad. Can't have those things. I remember my brother crying one day. My mom said, "Stop crying, or I'll give you something to cry about." Okay? You know that one, right? So, but these emotions were not accepted, so you bottled them in. You felt bad for having them, so you wanted to disown them. You don't want them to, you didn't want them to be there. So they somehow, with nowhere to go, got buried in the abyss of our subconscious mind. where they decided to cause havoc in our lives, because it's like we were disowning a part that was a part of us, our feelings, we were dealing with our belief systems, and we're feeling bad. So it was the side of the personality, so we felt that we had this evil twin, like the side of the personality that contained all the parts of us that we didn't want anyone to see. We didn't want to see that, that I had rage inside of me. I didn't want anybody to see that. I didn't want anybody to know that. That part became our shadow self. Okay, so we hide it, and we wore the mask. Like we wore. You ever seen the? I can't remember now. The Phantom of the Opera, and there's a song in there's masquerade. Da 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 da. You're walking around in a masquerade, holding the mask that you don't want anyone to see. Only the one that you want the outer world to see. And meanwhile, you carry this pain inside of you, and you're disowning it. You don't feel whole. You just don't. Eckhart Tolle called it the pain body. What a great thing. You have all these wounds, these pains that you're carrying with you. And you take them everywhere that you go, and they're heavy. And no one sees that part of that personality. We don't want to show it because we want to be, I'm a good girl, look at me, I'm smart, and we say these things but don't believe them because we have these ingrained beliefs within us that have created the stories that continue to say over and over again. We even forget it's there, We forget that we have the shadow self in there, the pain body there. And here's what happens. Whenever you choose not to become aware of it, wherever you choose not to acknowledge it, it becomes blacker and darker and louder because it wants you to acknowledge it. A lot of the behaviors that we put in place, a lot of things that we thought about ourselves were defense mechanisms to be able to cope when we were children. And yet they're still running our lives, even though we no longer need them. And because we bury them so deeply, we don't want to see them, we ignore them. We don't acknowledge them. So we're going to be walking around with the wounds of our past and never really feeling whole. And the awakening experience is to be able to say, you are whole. You are a child of God. And we begin to understand that, I know who I am. I'm a magnificent child of light and love, and I'm perfect, and I'm whole, and I'm created beautifully. So now I have this awareness, but I also have this other part of me that I have not yet dealt with, or embraced, or allowed to heal. We are magnificent, so magnificent that words cannot express it. But we walk around never ever really in that space of knowing and being and trusting, because we still have the stories, the universal stories we've told ourselves. I found this really beautiful, beautiful creation story. It's a Sufi creation story. And I had to share it with you because it's just perfect for what I'm trying to say. He says, in the beginning of time, the Creator wanted to behold the beauty of creation. And so a mirror was fashioned. And as the mirror was held up to the Creator's face, so great was the light and the power and the beauty of the image that the mirror shattered into billions of bright, shiny pieces of every size and shape and color and description. And thus were the people of the world created. You are reflections of spirit, all unique facets of the one. Isn't that a beautiful story? That's what we are. And so so we can choose to realize that truth, to know it, live it. And in order to fully be with it, you can choose to stop living a life that's unconsciously run by the programs of the beliefs and the stories that we have told ourselves. They're keeping us from experience the fullness of what it means to be a child of God. You can choose. The shadow self sometimes is called the inner child. You can choose to compassionately and lovingly begin to look at the wounds that the inner child has had to hold on to. And then allow that inner child to fall into the arms of love that you are. Because that's what you are. Allow that. No longer needs to be in that space. It's no longer the truth of you that you are awake. You know something different. Charles Fillmore says that a characteristic of love and mercy, prompted by an understanding heart, a compassionate mind, sees the error, but does not condemn. You're not there to go back to condemn or judge. Jesus said it so beautifully when he says, when the woman was brought to him so that, the people wanted him to condemn her, stone her to death. He says, sin no more. He says, I don't condemn you, neither do I condemn thee. Go thy way. From henceforth, sin no more. Sin in unity is missing the mark, forgetting about who we are, allowing ourselves to fall into those error thinking. And he was telling her, stop doing that, just go. I don't condemn you. Imagine the freedom that brings when we can do that for ourselves. So as I said, some people have buried the wounds of their past so deeply that you don't know that they're there. So the question becomes, because we need to become aware of them, how do we do that? How do we become aware that they're there? It's very simple. You're not going to believe this. When you get triggered, that's when you'll know. That's when you'll know. There's something still that needs to be healed. And know this, Richard Rohr says it so beautifully. He says that our wounds are God's hiding place. I almost cried when I read that. They're God's hiding place, and they hold our greatest gifts. The final stupendous gift is that your false self, that which you are not, becomes the raw material for your unique version of the true self. How powerful is that quote? So one way to become aware of the wounds that we're still carrying, that we have denied and shun away and don't want to even see them anymore, is to pay attention to the times when you're triggered. How many of you have ever gotten triggered? Okay? We all do. Pay attention to the signs when you're in that present moment and you're getting triggered. Moments are triggering are really wonderful opportunities to do healing work in your life. Wonderful. And you're all going to have those kind of people in your lives that they just know how to zero right into the places within you that are needing healing. They just know. Sometimes we call them, they push our buttons, but you have no buttons. Remember, Annie told us, no buttons. We have no buttons in our bodies, okay? So nobody can make us feel anything. We are in charge of our own feelings. But they know how to trigger it. They know how to mirror back to us what needs healing compassion. So maybe the phrase we should go around saying is, blessed are thou that are the triggerers in our lives. Those that push our buttons, Oh, man. And so what happens, they push, we get triggered, and of course, we go into automatic pilot. We fall asleep. We're back to, unconscious living. And the first thing that comes out of our mind is to blame them. They become the people in your lives that you want to stay away from. You blame them. You don't like them. You make all kinds of stories around them. And really, If we were to look from the portal of the heart, everything that's happening in our lives, we will know that it's together for our good. It is evolving us. So that person that has triggered you is part of your evolution. So you can become that which you are. They trigger us, and we blame them, and we keep burying more. We can't let that feeling come up, We don't want it. I could tell you lots of stories when that has happened to me, but I won't, because I'll be here forever. So what can you do instead of blaming and judging and shaming, She says, take a red pill. She says, wake up. Bring yourself right here to the right now, because you're falling asleep for a moment. And then maybe here's how the work can be. Spirit will guide you. I'm just going to share some of the stuff that she says. She says, step away and move your focus from the voices in your head to your heart. Step away before you react. Take a moment, step away. Get heart-centered. And how do you do that? How do you get heart-centered? I love these phrases that we throw out there and people have no clue. What does that mean? How do you do that? Well, to get heart-centered is begin to be grateful for the things in your life. Just take a moment. Okay, I'm not going to allow this to trigger. I know Spirit is working in me right now. I know there's something to do. I'm going to go right to my heart. And begin to maybe make a mental list of the people and the places and the things that you are so very grateful for. And allow appreciation to rise up and expand all over you. Just let it open your heart. Just let it open your heart. Let it open it so much so that it's almost overflowing into the room. Let appreciation rise up. And when you're feeling like that, you are now heart-centered. That's where you are, centered in a place of gratitude. And now you can begin to do the work. There will be no judgment, no blaming. You're aware that this is an opportunity for me to heal. And so you want to be able to kind of maybe mentally or even writing, briefly describe what just happened. What just happened. And don't go into a lot of words, okay? Because you don't want to focus on the story. You just want to see what happened. Joe walked in the room and he told me something and ticked me off. And I was feeling this, period. No more, not a lot, okay? I think it's the other way around. He would probably tell you it's the other way around. You don't want to get stuck in the story about what happened. You don't want to get stuck, don't want to go down that lane of blaming and shaming and doing all that. And you just want to see what feeling did that rise up in me? What was I feeling at that moment? Dig deep. Try to go deep. When was the first time, can you remember that you had that feeling? Where were you? What was happening? When you were a child, that feeling arose in you. Try to identify it. And because of that feeling, what beliefs did you take on about yourself? I'm not good enough. I'm unlovable. Whatever it may be. And as you recognize that where it first appeared in your life, ask yourself, is this really true about me? Is it? You realize that it's no longer true. It wasn't true then, and it isn't true now. You're a child of God. So you begin to now realize that why should I hold on to this? It's not true. And you can compassionately see it, not judge it. And you could treat the wound you have so that you can see it, bring it out to the light, no longer hiding in the shadows. Compassionate inquiry is a very intimate, a very powerful practice for you. And it will take that false self, those storylines, those thoughts that were in the driver's seat, of your life. It'll help that. Take that away and put the greater self in the driver's seat. the truth of who you are. And put the faults of your little ego or whatever it is that, put that one under the submission of that. Now the authentic self is driving and saying, I am not those things. I'm so much greater than that. I'm sorry we had to experience that. I know you did the best you did, Luz, when you were little, this happened. But you no longer need to hold on to that. And what you're doing there, by embracing that part of you, by seeing that part of you, it really is actually allowing you to integrate that part of you. Because you're fractured. You kept hiding this. You bring it back. And recognize that it's all you. It's all you. And now you know better. You know a greater truth. And you can compassionately be able to heal the wounds. And it takes practice. A lot of times we say, I did the work. I'm never going to have that. I'm healed from that. Oh my. It could take years. But keep persistent. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love sees no wrong. Keep with it. Keep with it. Keep with it. And someday that emotion is not going to have any power over you. You'll see it. You'll move with it. A feeling is not, it's an energy. And it's almost like a gift. And our job is to take it from that negative I in charge that we've given it and allow it to transmute and integrate it into our lives. So we got to get to see our stories and maybe ultimately leave behind the parts of the stories that are no longer the truth about ourselves. Simmons says that this work is so powerful and so beautiful and so rewarding and so will help you to stay awake to your truth. But she says you can't just plaster a positive thought over a limiting belief and expect to change your life. You can't just go around saying, I'm a child of God and I'm strong and I'm free. Yes, but you have to look at the wound. You have to go back in there. She says that doing that, just adding a positive thought on top of what your negative thinking, you said that's like putting a Band-Aid over a festering wound. Healing won't happen unless you address the underlying injury. So I ask, my prayer for you is that perhaps this week, when you are feeling triggered, something, and trust me, it will happen. Because the goal of the universe is to help us evolve to be that which we are meant to be. Child of God, the light of the world, the love of the world, the peace of the world. And so my prayer is that you will practice compassionate inquiry when you are feeling triggered. See it as that triggering moment, see it as a gift. Choose to see it that way, because it truly, really is. And this way you know that what you're doing is you're taking the reins of the driver, of the main driver, the false identity of yourself, and giving it back to the authentic, true self that you are. Namaste.
The things my family did, pieces of the brokenness inside. I am light. 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 I'm not the mistakes that I have made, or any of the things that cause me pain. I am not the pieces of the dream I left behind. I am light. 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 I am not the color of my eyes. I am not the skin on the outside. I am not my age. I am not my race. My soul inside is all light. Ooh. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am light. I am divinity defined. I am the God on the inside. I am a star, a piece of it all. I am light.
Yes, you are light, you are love, you are peace, you are all that God is.
Beautiful song and message. Thank you, Rev Luz. I will take that with me throughout the week and continue to take my red pill all through the week. It's like the vitamin. You know how you take a vitamin in the morning? Take the red pill. So it's that wonderful time in our service now to give up our tithes and our offerings. Let us acknowledge the gifts that you are sending. And we want to let you know that we're so grateful to all of you who are with us and for sending in your checks, the contributions online, for all the gifts and the tithes that make it possible for us to come to you live. Please take your gifts in your hands and affirm your offering blessing with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. So it is. Well, thank you for being with us today. We hope that you have been uplifted. I certainly have, and energized with what Reverend Luz brought us today, and that you can go through your week feeling God's love in every place that you go. Remember, the red pill. Every place that we go, at home, at work, here, wherever we go, in the supermarket, everywhere we go. Will you affirm the prayer of protection with me? The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Many blessings. And I believe Reverend Luz has a few more messages for us. Namaste.
Okay, so my announcements are really quick and sweet today. Annie and Arbith will be by the foyer, so you have an opportunity to ask them questions about their classes. They have 2 classes coming. Workshop, sorry. I always say the same thing. I'm in autopilot. No. And the Unity Basics is, we had the workshop that is second half of life. You can ask all the questions you want, sign up. It's going to be great. And then this Unity Basics, and I want to make sure we have new people in our congregation that that class is a wonderful class to take. It's for refresher for people who want to recommit themselves. It's a class for you to know what are we really about, some of the things there. And it's also a class to allow you to become a voting member, so that you have a say in this community. So I encourage you to go to the table, talk to Annie, sign up, ask questions, and do that. And I left my glasses, so this is not really good. So the other thing the other thing is I want to say, remember how I'm always talking to you about people in the congregation, they kind of love this congregation, and they chip in whenever it's the need. Nobody even has to ask them. So I want to acknowledge, every time I come across that, today I want to acknowledge Rhonda. Rhonda has painted her office, and she's painted Z's office, and she's on a roll. You know, she's cleaning up and straightening up, and thank you, Rhonda, for everything that you do. Thank you. And here's something that's very dear to my heart, and I want to please just take one moment to express that. For this is going to be our 3rd year that we're going to be able to feed families of Citrus County with food for Thanksgiving. And we have a congregant, our board president has donated everything that we need to buy the food. What we don't have are the gift cards that we're going to put in the bag so people can buy a turkey, because I don't have a place to store turkeys and I can't give them a turkey. So if you want to be a part of that, and I hope that you do, the gift cards are $20, but you can give whatever you want. You could either buy the card yourself or more than one card. You can give whatever you want to give, and we will purchase it here. But touch your heart and know we're so abundantly blessed. Let's be a blessing out there. So I love you and bless you. I hope you have a fantastic week. I will not be here next week. Joe and I need to take a quick trip to New York. Pray for our daughters. One of our daughters got hit really badly with Ida, so we're going to support her. And the other one has surgery and is having some challenges. So we'll be right back. Not this coming Sunday, but the following Sunday. So I love you and bless you and thank you for everything, and I look forward to seeing you. Okay, right up there to say goodbye. Have a great week. Do we have anything else to do? No, we do. We're good.